Severe Vohra, 26 years old, director with Sarova hotels, and also serving as a director amongst, within other companies that fall under the family holding. Sheffield Steel Systems, I'm the finance director. I look after the bicycle shop, our family's bicycle shop, which was started in 1924 by my great-grandfather, Sardar Singh Vohra. Then taken forward by my grandfather, Mohinder Singh Vohra, and now by myself, almost 100 years later. There have been the ups and downs. There's been tragedy in the family, not once, but several times. 2017, we lost my father in November to a road accident. Following year, 2018, the entire family passed away. My grandmother, my grandfather, my mother, my aunt, again in a tragic road accident along the Mombasa-Nairobi highway. And that left my brother and I behind. You have this entire responsibility. You have, the family investments, the family companies, but more importantly, you have the responsibility of the people. The people that are directly dependent on you, the people that look up to you, and by extension, their families too. So there's a much wider ecosystem that you're dealing with, that you're looking after, that you're responsible for. Your clients, your suppliers. So it has been an incredible journey. A question that I've been asked many a time is God fair? And my response to that has always been that he's very, very fair. Ultimately, we're all his children. Wherever you go, whatever you do, he'll never ever put you in harm's way. And he only tends to put people in a situation if he feels that they can handle it. Early years, primary education, secondary education here in Kenya, Kenton College, Hillcrest Secondary School for my O-levels, A-levels. And thereafter I moved on to the UK to study at the University of Warwick, where I pursued a bachelor's in civil engineering and a master's in finance. So a qualified civil engineer by profession with a master's in finance. And I find myself, having accomplished that, feeling that, there's never really an end to learning. So you learn every single day through your experiences that shape your future, as well as education, in different forums. So moving forward, you asked me about future aspirations and plans. Yes, programs at Harvard University, Stanford University, INSEAD, these are things that I would like to actively take up and pursue, leadership programs, and further my education every single day. The hospitality industry by default is one of our largest interests across the continent. So naturally, after being thrust into the position of being at the helm of my family and of businesses, hospitality is an industry that I couldn't shy away from. However, we got into this many years ago. Sarova Hotels was founded over 40 years ago by my grandfather, by Mr. John Garter Kariuki, and my grandfather's brother. Now, how they came together, this was all it was purely friendship. So ultimately, our first purchase was Ambassador, and at that point in time, it was more of, trying out the hotel industry, the business. It was new to them at that point in time. They tried it, they succeeded at it. Later on, my father came and joined the business and worked at Ambassador when they bought the hotel. Started from the bottom, worked his way up, through all the departments. And eventually they found themselves buying, the next hotel and the one after. So the Stanley, White Sands, Pan Afric, Lion Hill, Mara. These were probably properties that were not bought. These were properties that were built. And I remember my father telling me several stories of his experience out in the wild for 2 odd years, back and forth. But he was actually living out in the wild, building these camps So Sarova Mara, Sarova Shaba. I remember him saying that he used to have a bath at 6 in the morning, in the dam, take a blue band bucket and pour water over his head. So we've come from humble beginnings, and that's one thing that our family's always insisted on, is the humility and the care for people. So we take that forward. The hospitality industry is where I'm able to also take that forward, and I feel that it's a place where you get to meet and interact with lots of people, different kinds of people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and from all across the world. I find that drive in my family. Ultimately, I live for my family. And when I say my entire family, I don't just mean, the immediate people living with me. I mean each and every individual that I have a relationship with, whereby we work together. Their families become my family. And by extension, it's that whole, stakeholder sort of ecosystem, where there are people that look up to you. You find yourself in a situation where you lose the entire family. And everybody, for a split second, is left in a situation asking themselves, what next? You then ask yourself, I'm faced with certain responsibilities, challenges, but how do I overcome? How do I rise above? And as you answer those questions, as things unfold, you realize that you wake up not just for yourself, but you wake up for those around you. And as you forge ahead, as you take yourself forward, you take your family forward, you take the people that are dependent on you forward, the lives within this organization forward, you find purpose, because you then realize that you're able to touch each and every individual in different ways. And amongst those, there's my brother as well, my younger brother, who looks up to me as a father, an elder brother, a best friend. Especially after the tragedy and the accident, having to play three roles, be three different people for him. For me, that gives me reason, because I've been left with the responsibility of making sure that he grows up to have the best, to be the best, and to achieve every single day. And I remember the last conversation I had with my father before he passed away, the night before, his final words were severe. He called me, he says, Severe, you okay? I said, yes, I'm well. And he says, listen, if I'm not there tomorrow, I'm not worried, because I know I've left you behind to look after your family, your mother, your grandparents, your brother, and the business. So being left with that responsibility, I find strength in the fact that my father had faith in my ability to look after the family, to take his legacy forward. That's a very, very interesting question, because a lot of people tend to think that, work is your life and that's it. But I find, there's more to life than work. Yes, work is very important. Having your priorities right, making sure that you fulfill, but also being able to unwind, relax, and give your mind a break so that you're able to think better as you move forward. That's important. So sports, I play golf. While I was in Mauritius, I would find myself playing golf every weekend, but unfortunately ever since I got back, things have been a lot busier. But I have this avid passion for boating. So you find me on the water, a certified boat captain, out in the middle of the ocean, just, a serene place where you're able to think about anything. There's nothing around you. You have an open mind, your thoughts, you're able to process. And then obviously spending time with the family. That for me... Married? Yes, I'm married. Married 2 years ago. My wife, her name is Amardeep. So I live in a small family. It was a family of 6, 2 parents, 2 grandparents, my brother and I. The tragedy. Then it was my brother and I. But the family is now growing, things are obviously moving on, things are moving forward. Family of 3, we live together. Ultimately, being a leader means that you stand in front and you pave the way. You show people what direction they need to be heading in. And not just demand that they follow, but have them believe in you, that what you're doing, the direction you're leading them in is right for them, is right for the organization, is right for the larger ecosystem and all the stakeholders. Another thing is problem solving. For me, leadership is always about problem solving. Certain times you may hear certain people say that there's only one solution to a problem. But this is where the engineering mind kicks in, and I feel that every problem has several solutions, and if one doesn't work, the other definitely will. And when you're able to analyze and process and figure out, the best solution to any problem, that demonstrates a leader, because you've analyzed, you've thought through every possible outcome, and you've then executed accordingly. And finally, leadership is not just about ideas. Leadership is not just about having the greatest idea. Leadership is actually about having an idea or taking an idea and executing it. Because as one of my godfathers has always told me, he says, Severe, an idea is only as good as the execution. Without the execution, the idea is worthless.